all you more phenomenal dudes and dudettes. Shiz here, and today I have a pretty exciting review for you guys. When I was at ToyFestWest in Las Vegas about 2.5 weeks ago now, I was walking around, and I had an expectation. I kind of knew the kind of toys, and I know that with my site and stuff like that, we talk about action figures a lot. But I'm not opposed to things that are awesome, toys that are awesome. It doesn't matter. The only booth there that had like original action figures were the Morphonauts, and this guy named Bo and his wife Amanda created these rad things. There's a comic book. It's really cool. It kind of harkens back to the whole, like, the only thing that's missing at this point is like a cartoon show. But it heavily reminds me of like G.I. Joe, just a lot of things from the 80s and the 90s. I want to say like Reboot and Crash Test Dummies, and just the actual Micronauts and stuff like that. Kind of real Ghostbusters-ish, just with some of the colors and things that are going on. Anyways, when we get them open, we'll take a closer look and everything. But yeah, these are wild. These are mix and match magnetic action figures, and we do, of course, we have hero mashers and stuff like that. But these are looking to be pretty solid. See, this is for instance, this is the Crabanaut. You got the Razornaut and the Pyronaut, and these things are loaded with accessories. But before we talk any more about it, let's get them open and have a better look. And really quick, before I get these things open, I'm a big fan of packaging, and I like this this white box. It's reminiscent of what action figures are doing nowadays. Of course, Black Series and Marvel Legends to an extent and stuff like that. Kind of the Transformers as well. But this is a solid, nice packaging. You got a very cool design around the window of the figure. The figure is displayed perfectly. Looks like he's got twist ties and stuff keeping everything in place, and also the molded plastic. But it a couple things, it makes it stand out. I like the white packaging. Nowadays Star Wars is black and red, and Marvel is usually black with art and stuff on the sides and things. But look at you have the Crabanaut. It actually has a bio. That's insane. If you want to pause it, you can read the whole thing. There you go. And the back, it's like the old-fashioned days where you'd see the whole lineup of the figures clear and stuff, like collect them all, and here's what you're getting. The only thing that's missing is like the send away points. Like, cut out here is 5 points, and just send us a figure and stuff like that. There's even a story on the side. That's amazing. Here, put that there so you can pause it and see. But I am very excited to open this up. I like everything. It's very clear what it is. Mix and match, and that is the whole basis for these things. So, all right, I'm done talking. Let's bust these things open. And here are the three mighty Morphonauts out of their packaging, and they are looking fantastic. Right off the bat, we have Razornaut, we have Crabanaut, and we got Pyronaut. And I have to say, Pyronaut, man, he's like the bulkiest figure out of them. So I think he's the heaviest, followed by probably this guy, and then Razornaut. They all have a nice heft to them, but this guy's got a lot more weapons and stuff going on, so that's really nice. I love the backstories on these things. He's like a dude that saved everybody from this big the meteor explosion of Morphonite, and he gets brought back to life. Crabanaut is like a mutant that wants domination of the earth, and then you got Razornaut, who's like a soldier who gets mutated and everything, and then he has to fight the Crabanaut. So it's kind of like, it's all those elements of like sci-fi, fantasy, all kind of rolled into one, but stuff that you don't really see anymore, outside of the usual brands and things that we already know. So I'm glad that Morphonauts is kind of bringing that back in a sense, because it involves a lot of creative play, which I'll show you especially in a minute. With like children and stuff like that, because they give you a story. There's a story to these things. They're all over the packaging right here on the sides. You got the detailed bio, and you have the backstory. And like I've said before, there's nothing better than, hey kids, here is a situation. Here are the characters, right? You got basically the bad guy, good guy, and you can kind of interswap and stuff like that. Now go play with them and create your own stories. And they, like I've said over and over again, I don't feel like toys challenge kids like that anymore. These are also a little bit Lego-ish in the sense that, I mean, you get to build them and everything. Like, you know what? I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I mean. Here we go. And if you're wondering the size of these figures, they all pretty much clock in at around the 5-inch mark, with Pyronaut just being a little bit taller than them. But yeah, 5 inches is about the average size. The other nice thing that I'll point out is that these are all, you know, they're molded plastic with, you know, the paint on it. Like in this case, you know, he's, you know, mostly orange, but then they come around with, you know, the extra paint for the gray and the black and stuff like that. They're all painted nicely. I will say I'd like an extra, maybe some of their little design to really enhance the face, because this kind of blends into the orange a little bit more. But I mean, I really like the design. My favorite, just while they were in the package, my favorite was the Krabonaut, and it's kind of sort of going towards to Pyronaut. There's nothing wrong with poor Razornaut here. He's the human character, so you know he's not as cool as the mutants or the robots and stuff like that. So that's the only thing. But I mean, he's still awesome. I mean, look at the, like, I don't know why I think like Mortal Kombat for whatever reason, like on the backpack, but that's just me. Things I see, it reminds me of different stuff, and everyone is different. Everyone gets reminded of different things, so you know it's all good, and that's part of the creativity of play. And if you were wondering, because these are magnetic, how do these hold up? Well, let's see. I always like to do the test. Now, like I said, these are being held in by magnets, and I'm doing it, you know, fairly to an extent. I'm not gonna like throw these things up against the wall, obviously, but no, they are pretty durable, I gotta say. I'm having a little bit trouble with his backpack. It just gets a little top heavy because it doesn't have the groove feature that's on the other figures and stuff. But see, that's what happens. Action figures always, yeah, see, they always go. One of them domino affects the other ones. But I like these things. I like the colors. I really like the design of Krabonaut. In terms of, I think if I was like 5 years old and stuff like that, I think I might gravitate more towards Krabonaut. He would be like a good foil, a good bad guy. He's like the Skeletor and, you know, He-Man and Man-at-Arms and stuff like that. So Morphonauts, you nailed it on all the aspects of just reminding me of nostalgic toys. And so it just ensures that, you know, you have enough, you know, articulation and everything. I mean, look at the feet. Everything moves accordingly. It's a little loose in the waist, I'll say that. Not terribly, but it's a little loose here. The backpack is a little crazy loose in the back, but then again, this is an example. You don't have the notched ribs in the figure. See that? So that's what would happen, I guess you would say, you know, if it was kind of the same with the arms and stuff like that. But it, you know, it really doesn't happen. So the other play gimmick for these things is that, you know, they come with a backpack, like the Krabonaut and everything. There's a little bit of story to that. You know, he can take it off. He can use these as weapons. Look at the magnets. They're already, you know, he can hold the weapons and stuff like that. And that, you know, that's cool. It's what we see, you know, nowadays and stuff like that. But it just, I don't know why these are different. These are more of like just something different that you don't normally see in stores nowadays. I would say these are kind of reminiscent of a little bit like science toys mixed with like old-fashioned 90s 80s action figures. A lot of Kenner influence. I feel like I wanted to point out, I like whatever flesh color that they're using for this. It's like spot on. It's a little shiny, of course, but I think it's just a matter of the lights and stuff that I'm using. But it's a really nice natural flesh tone. So that's really nice to point out and everything. The other thing I will say, though, the only thing that worries me about the articulation with the ratcheting kind of thing, much like you would strip, like if you were, you know, taking a screwdriver and screwing in a screw or something like that, if you were, like, let's say a kid and you're continuously grinding and grinding and grinding, I don't know, but I would think that the plastic would kind of, you know, essentially rub away over time, and you might be left with less of a, you know, a stiff joint and stuff like that. So that's just something to think about. The other nice thing is that the magnets, so each Krabonaut, Razornaut, Pyronaut, and stuff like that, they come with these backpacks. Krabonaut, for instance, has a kind of like like a parasitic crab that sits on his back, and he, you know, he comes detached, and it's kind of like his little sidekick, I guess you could say. But as you can see, the magnets work as like extensive joints and stuff. See how that kind of rotates up and down, and you get a better range of motion when you have this in there, and it's actually an extra nice little bonus feature, especially when you're going to be, interchanging all these, so like look how you can, you can tuck away his extra crab hands in the back and stuff like that. You can also do it with the Pyronaut. These can go down, these can kind of hang out a little bit, you know what I mean? You get an extra layer that you don't, usually see, and that's really cool. And it's a really interesting design, especially with magnets, you know what I mean? That's really, really cool. And same thing with Razorknot, he just it's just a nice articulation. The actual arms don't have that function, I don't think. Let me see. Let me just double check. Let me check all of them. You know what? They kind of sort of do. It's not like the other arms and stuff like that where it's dramatic, but yeah, it does have that articulation. So case in point. All right, so we have this pile of parts and everything. So what do we do with them now, right? So everything is magnetic, and the magnets work really fantastic. I have to say they're strong, but they're not like stupid strong. You know what I mean? Where you'd have a hard time. So all you do. Obviously, the pieces match up to the corresponding figure due to colors and stuff like that. But I mean, look at it; it just boom, snaps right in there. If I want to, the other nice thing that I like is that each figure comes with like a backpack kind of accessory, to where you can kind of add these, parts and stuff like that on the back. It gives it more of an aesthetic. It gives the character more depth and a little bit more like design quality that I like. I like, big bulky figures, backpacks, tendrils, sharp things sticking off the back and everything else. So look at this, boom. Here, show you. Right in there. The other thing is that, so you'd think, well, if it's just a magnet, as you can see, and then you just have the little slot which connects to the other magnet, well then how does he have any type of, pull and stuff like that? So in here are little tiny notched grooves in the flesh, and then that corresponds with clicking up. Bottom of the feet, he has magnetic pegs too, so you can actually stick him to your fridge or anything else that's magnetic, which is cool. I know the Silver Surfer kind of got released the other day, and we kind of, from Marvel Legends, and we found out that he doesn't even have magnetics on the bottom of his feet. So the old Toy Biz one did, that didn't. Why, if Morphonauts can do it, Hasbro, why can't you? That was a missed opportunity, I'm just saying. So moving on, let's build the rest of these guys. Now, the other nice thing about this whole play feature of magnetic interswapability and everything else, everything can swap, everything can fit, and it doesn't matter, which size figure, whatever. It's still, they've made it so that you can use the parts every which way. So even though you have a bigger figure, like the Pyronaut, he still matches well with the Crabinaut. So, and you can mix and match his legs. You can throw this backpack on him right there, so he's got that. Let's see, let's give him, there's so many options. You can take off the head, you can pop the heads off. You know what, let's give him Razorknot's head. How about that? There we go. And let's give him a Pyronaut arm and a Razorknot arm. And I think I was talking with Bo, and he kind of pointed out, I was thinking the same thing. He's kind of got like the Wolverine / Dakin / X23 kind of thing going on, so that's kind of cool. Like, nice little shout out to that. Let's see, and then let's stick one of these crab arms in there, and then a gun arm. See that? I mean, like, that's cool. That's pretty dope, I have to say. Kids, one thing I will say, I'm having a little trouble. It gets a little top heavy. Some of these figures are a little hard to stand, just because they do have flat feet. Now, like I said, I am standing them on a regular, flat surface and everything. If you had a magnetic surface, it works fine. He attaches like no other. So, that's a nice thing. And, one thing I'll say is, if Morphonauts continue, with the new figures and stuff like that, then I would come out with like a magnetic, display base or something like that. That would be awesome. And that's how they actually had them displayed at ToyFestWest, was on a full magnetic board, and yeah, they stood perfectly. It was awesome. And here's all the figures inter-swapped out as best as I could. There's a, like, if you had, think about if you had like 20 of these things, like all the wild creature designs you can do and stuff like that. And that's another thing that I like, is that you have set designs, but then you have the customizable ability of creating your own character. Now, I'm not saying that, this is for everyone. This is one of those things where I find it really fascinating, because for me, it totally harkens back to old-fashioned toys. You got Kenner representative, a little bit of G.I. Joe, Ghostbusters, Micronauts, just all those, like I said, even Crash Test Dummies. Remember, you used to put those things back together, you crash them in the wall and stuff like that. That's awesome. It promotes that creativity that I like to see, and I like to do it too myself. You know what I mean? Like, even the customizers out there, they like to create their own figure. Now you kind of have this ability to create these, wild, brightly colored, really designed well figures, and even the backstory. It's so, and I mean this in the best way. There's fun, and then what I call like stupid fun. Like, it's so like out there, and it's just so ridiculous that it's awesome, and I really like that. It's a blast just to read about these things. And the other cool part is that they were nice enough. They sent me, the first issue of the comic book. Now, see, that's the other thing I was talking about, is that you usually back in the day you'd have a cartoon series which promoted the toys. He's got a comic book that's promoting these toys and everything, and it cements the fact of like, it's play and here's the story and go out and create your own and stuff like that. And I think kids, if you can't have a cartoon show, have a comic book. Look at the artwork in there. That's awesome. It's all 3D rendered, but it looks fantastic. This totally reminds me of Reboot. Anybody, if you remember Reboot, you're awesome. Oh man, and like Beast Wars, Transformers, and stuff like that. See, there's so many different things that is incorporated here, but it's incorporated well, and that's the best part about it. It's like, it doesn't shy away. Things I do like, I like the magnetic aspect about it. I like the fact, they're brightly colored. They're nicely articulated for what they are. Things, and I really don't have too many complaints. I mean, I get what they're trying to do and everything, and they're just starting off. I just popped that up. The articulation is limited. You know what I mean? It's got the basic up and down. It has the head turns and stuff like that. And, it's got, bendable knees, and then legs go back and everything. And he's got a swivel at the waist and stuff like that. And of course the head moves. The fact that, it doesn't have wrist rotation or ankle pivot or anything else like that, that's not important, and I don't think that's really necessary in figures like this because of what you are mainly trying to do. And to be honest with you, they kind of look cool with that sort of limited articulation. I'm going to be quite honest, I would like to see maybe extra interchangeable heads. This is nitpicking, but I mean, always more weapons is always kind of cool. Maybe little parts and weapons that come off the actual leg, so you can switch those out. But that's like nitpicking. Just more interchangeable things later down the line. So other than that, I really don't have any qualms with these figures. I love the packaging. I like the fact that there's a comic book involved. I like everything about these things, and I really want them to succeed. Try them out for your kids. Try them out for yourself. Go to morphonauts.com. I'll have the link in the description below. But go check them out. Just at least give them a try. I will say that, to be quite honest, like, getting one doesn't really achieve the fact. You're probably gonna need one or two, so that way you can like interchange the things. And then I'm not trying to say like, oh, you gotta buy them all and stuff like that. But I will say, to really get the full effect, and why you're supposed to have these and play with them, is you need multiple ones to interchange the parts. So that's all I'm saying. First and foremost, so who are these toys for? Who would I say they're for? I would think these are for kids that are bored of what's out there. This might be a gift that you give your kid or your granddaughter, your grandson, or something like that. And I think it has the potential of being something really cool. And I really feel that if you give kids nowadays, I think kids are craving a little bit more of that these days, because they keep getting the same thing over and over again. you can package, Star Wars figures with like build-a-weapons and stuff like that, and that's fine. But when it gets old after a while, because it really doesn't make sense to the movie, you have these characters that I barely know, but I get it. I get the fact of like, these guys are on the battlefield, they get their arms blown off, their legs blown off, they can reattach like another one, they can soup themselves up, they can do anything. So that's why, I really, I like these things a lot. I don't see everyone buying these, of course. I don't see the casual collector. If you want something really new and exciting, these are, I think, something for you to check out. Much like I did with Spiro Toys and everything, with their, the Animals of the Kingdom and stuff like that. These are more high-end. These are going to kind of go either way. Either they're going to really resonate with kids, or they're going to resonate with like adult collectors and stuff like that. But I think they'll find that nice middle ground that kind of covers every which way. So lastly, I wanted to say thank you again to Bo and Amanda for sending these out to me. Now, I did get these for free, but, I try to do a fair and honest review. And, just because, I like these or I find these fascinating doesn't mean it's because I got them for free. It's because I'm honestly giving you things. I still have qualms. I still have issues with them and stuff like that. But, it's nothing that's, like, too out of control. That you have someone that wanted to make action figures, and they friggin' did it. So you can't be too hard up on somebody about that. Everyone always talks about like, oh, I can't believe this figure didn't come with this thing. These people made their own action figures, and they're selling them, and they have a comic book, and they're trying to do like even more. And there's an app involved. You can go online and download an app that you can interchange and create your own character virtually. Like that's wild. That's freaking, that's like a dream come true for someone who is so into action figures. And Bo, man, we talked for like forever, just going back like, oh, hey, remember this? Oh, hey, the dude, he knew everything. He was rad. So thank you again. Great meeting you. I had a blast at ToyFestWest. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos just like this. And also hit the notification button so you'll find out when I post more videos about rad stuff like these things. If you are on Instagram or Twitter, please follow me at ToyShiz. And be sure to follow at Morphonauts on Instagram. And other than that, I think this kind of wraps up the review. I hope you guys, dug it and everything. Just really give these figures a chance. They're pretty cool, and especially for older collectors like myself. I really feel like these are so like just retro and remind me in the best ways. Figures that I used to get. I would love to see these on store shelves. I think these would absolutely do amazing. I think. You have those the food fighter kind of reincarnation of those the food toys now. Gosh, the name. Oh, the grocery gang. Thank you. I did that all on my own. Things like that. So I think there's a bit of a renaissance happening with toys. I think kids are getting tired of the same old, one brand this, movie that. Let's have some more different things on the toy shelf, and I think these definitely deserve the spot. So thank you again for watching. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I hope you guys find everything you're looking for and find some rad figures and awesome deals and everything else. Let me know if you guys find anything rad. Let me know if there's anything new or exciting that's coming out that I don't even know about. I mean, it's always a possibility. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios. And one last thing before we go, I had to make, my own character. Off the top of my head, I was going to call this guy like Destructonaut, something something corny, but he is the ultimate hybrid of destruction, and he will take down anything with mutant, robot, and human powers. He will destroy. Look at this thing. See, this is what I mean. This is why these are like, this thing walks into a bar, you're done. You don't want this thing chasing you. God, those pinchers. Anyways, all right, guys. Adios.